and into 2022, and that has a lot to do with our tournament schedule and event schedule that we're doing for this year, and how it's going to shape and look like going into 2022, as well as the change in structure and the way we do tournaments within MGL, at least for the remainder of 2021. Some other things we'll chat about is just some of the different aspects of changes in MGL that we're going to be doing, as well as Sax and Mike will talk about some of the content creation that they've been doing. If you guys haven't seen, they do community outreach and Whiskey Delta for MGL content. And then, then we'll take questions throughout, and then we'll have a whole Q&A section at the end if you guys have questions that we didn't get to throughout the town hall. So to start out, briefly want to touch on MGL getting through COVID and kind of what that's looked like for us. Of course, as with most businesses, COVID was kind of difficult, and it was no different for us. We had to kind of change the way we looked at MGL and what we were doing. Obviously, we couldn't do any in-person events, and with that came sponsorships that we had, pretty much nailed down. They kind of separated from us for this season, for 2020 into 2021, just because of COVID. And so coming into 2021, throughout 2020, we were working on how do we do a full online tournament and event season. And so that's what we're going to get into, is where we are now and how we've built that and what it's going to look like through 2021. Daniel, did you want to hit on anything?
Not yet. Yeah, and keep going. I'll kind of touch on the road from coming out of 2019 and what that's looked like. The one thing I will touch on is 2020 was a really exciting time for us, simply because we did a lot in 2019 to specifically position ourselves to be attractive to larger sponsors. And we finally got a whale of a sponsor on board, a financial sponsor on board with us. I'm sorry, from the financial sector. And to Travis's point, it was about a 3 to 4 month process getting them to the finish line. And they pulled out very last minute with COVID impact related concerns. And so that was pretty disheartening to have all that work and build up that we had through 2019. And there were a lot of ups and downs. There was, for those of you that were part of some of our previous events in 2019, what a negative impact that had on the league, where we had some sponsors not follow through. And so to be able to come out of that and just kind of set ourselves up to be attractive to some really above board and solid sponsors, and then obviously have the impacts of COVID was pretty disheartening, frustrating, all those things. But it did cause us to look at the model in a different way, and that's not been nothing but good so far. So as you hear how this has progressed and played through, you'll hopefully see that too. But yeah, it was a frustrating element to what was already kind of a frustrating year. But now we're moving forward. So.
Sweet. Okay. So I'm just gonna get into the plans for the rest of 2021, what MGL has planned. So one thing that we've been talking about a lot, we've got some feedback from some of our Patreon supporters, as well as some of the community, and we've talked amongst ourselves about it, is opening MGL's doors to civilians and to allied military. So what this means is that, Discord, when we started out, there was so many people on Discord, and we were always on Discord, always playing together. And as we grew, and as Discord as an entire company grew, people started having hundreds of channels on their personal Discords. We found that there was less involvement in the voice channels. And so one of the things that we have talked about is involving civilians and allied military, because we saw that a lot of you guys, a lot of the MGL community was playing with friends or family, but they couldn't play within the MGL server. So they would go to their other servers. Same thing with like playing with some Canadian military, some British military. And so, we're in the process of rolling out them being able to join MGL. It'll be in um, a very specific format where all the military channels that we have, all of the military exclusive stuff to MGL will remain that way. However, there will be an addition of civilians in the gaming channels so that you guys can game with friends and family and they can just join in MGL. They won't have, like I said, they won't have any access to exclusive channels for military. That will always remain that way. And then we'll have British Armed Forces and Canadian Armed Forces joining us with their own channels, so you guys can talk crap to them and tell them how much better the U.S. is than Canada and Great Britain. And then they will be able to join us for some events as well. We'll have them involved, and I'll go more into that when we talk about Patreon. But they'll be able to get involved with our tournaments and some of our events. Some more some of the other plans that we have is we have an entire online tournament event season ready to go and ready to execute. And so that's one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about, what that looks like, what changes we made as MGL as a business going into those tournaments, um, how the pricing and registration, all that stuff is going to work. So if nobody has anything to kind of add on, I'm going to get into the tournament stuff. You got
Yeah.
anything, Daniel?
No, no.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, cool. So, this I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys, and I'm going to be showing you guys the official schedule for the 2021 event season for MGL. So, if there's some of you that can't see it because you're busy or anything, I'll be going through it, so you guys can kind of just listen in. But if any of you want to see visually, it is up. You just kind of click in there.
You have got to click watch stream.
All right, so I'll get started here. So we are closing in on the end of April here. So everything is going to be starting in May. And what this looks like from a big perspective is that every month, the first 2 weeks, the first two weekends are going to be community tournaments and community events. Um, what these look like are everybody can be involved, friends, family, military, everyone can be involved. And these are smaller prize pools, smaller prizes. Um, but we're going to do those for the first 2 weekends of a month. The third weekend will be our competitive tournaments. These are the ones like Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant, Apex. These are all the big titles that will be exclusive to the military. So this is where the exclusive military will always remain here in the competitive tournaments. These will be weekend long, so these will be both Saturday and Sunday, where the community tournaments will only be on Saturdays or Sundays, if need be, just kind of like one day on the weekend. With that being said, one of the biggest things that we've changed with MGL is that we've always tried to provide everything free of cost for everybody. Um, we're now going to be everything is going to be a paid tournament to get in. It'll be really low in terms of payment, but this helps us generate revenue, helps us give you guys bigger prize pools. All this stuff will be helping MGL continue to put on these events and tournaments. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head as I go through the tournaments here. So for May, we're going to be doing an Among Us tournament for the community, and then followed by a Call of Duty 1v1 community tournament. The third weekend in May, well, actually the fourth, because there's 4 weekends or 5 weekends rather. The fourth weekend will be Rainbow Six Siege. So Rainbow Six Siege has always been like MGL's staple, and so we felt that opening up with Rainbow Six Siege would be the perfect event to kind of kick off this new structure. Um, because because they are all only done on a weekend, space will be limited, and that's something that we will do until we are able to grow um, our time frame of having a tournament. But for now, because they're only 1 or 2 days, space will be limited, and I'll go into what that looks like when we talk about Patreon again. But there will be different time frames of registration openings. So registration for all of those titles will start at the end of this month and the beginning of May. So those registrations will roll out, and as those roll out, you guys will obviously see stuff. There will be specific tournament channels that will have everything, all of the tournament schedules, all of the info. It'll be probably below the military channels, is where we'll put it, so you guys can always refer back to rules, timeframes, registration timeframes, all that good stuff. Moving into June, we're going to be doing a League of Legends ARAM community tournament, as well as a Call of Duty 2v2 tournament for the community, with Apex Legends being the competitive tournament for the month of June. Going into July, we will be doing a Rainbow Six Siege 3v3 community tournament, and then a Valorant Brawl community tournament. And then that competitive tournament for that month will be League of Legends. In August, we're going to be doing PUBG and Heroes of the Storm for community tournaments, and then followed by Valorant for the competitive tournament. And then, as you guys can see, September and October, we have left open because we want to get your guys' feedback. If there's titles that you haven't seen played through May, from May through August, and you want to play something specific, you can give us feedback, and we'll kind of plop that in there if there's enough support for it. If there is a tournament that you really enjoyed playing or watching, we might revisit that. But September and October are going to be open, and that's something that the community will vote on or talk about, as well as our Patreon supporters will have a big impact on games that we choose for September and October. As for November and December are going to be MGL's planning months for 2022. Right now, we would love to have 2022 be have these titles be longer and bigger and more of a season, even though it's not going to be potentially as long of a season. We still want it to feel like a little bit more of a season for at least the competitive stuff. Community tournaments will probably always be a 1 day, maybe a weekend thing. November, December also kind of is open for the potential of doing a branch battle if that's something that we can put together and you guys want. Something for Veterans Day. And we also are working with and awaiting further instructions from Beasley Esports. They're doing a Rocket League tournament from November to December. So that's something that we might just have you guys, anyone who's interested, be involved in. So that'll also be from November to December. And then one of the last things for 4th of July weekend, people will probably be getting hammered, having a good time, but we did want to be able to allow you guys to come enjoy some stuff with us. They will all be just free to play, first come, first serve, just enjoy the stream throughout the day. July 2nd, which is the Friday, will be Among Us. We'll just play a bunch of Among Us games. The third Saturday will be Marbles on Stream, and then Jackbox TV will be on Sunday on 4th of July. We might do some small prizes here and there with that, like Marbles on Stream. If you win, it's $5. We'll do like 20 games or whatever. So there's an opportunity to win some money through that, just for fun, having fun on 4th of July weekend. But this is the official schedule for the rest of this year. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yeah,
So yeah, just a simple question. Is this calendar gonna be up on the Discord channel?
it is. Yeah. I'm gonna make a bunch of tournament channels, tournament information, and this will be up for you guys all to see in the tournament category. There's going to be a category for tournament that'll have like tournament information, which will have this, registration dates, all that stuff. And then individual tournament channels for each of the different tournaments will be up as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Shady had a question for you. No in-person events this year? Question mark.
No, no. I mean, I don't even think people will be able to do stuff this year. And to be honest, it'll be too. I mean, even if they said, "Hey, December is opening up," that's still kind of too late for us to really put something together for a LAN event. So
Yeah, I wouldn't plan on it at all right now, Shady. And the main reason is we need to have sponsors for that, and we're just too late in the year to even get traction with those. And I mean, for example, for 2020, we started that grind the last quarter of 2019, and we weren't at past the redlining phase of the contract ready to sign until about April, almost May timeframe of 2020. And then obviously, so when that fell apart, that hurt us for the year. And in general, it was probably a blessing in disguise, because had we signed, this $100,000 plus sponsor, and then had all these obligations for an in-person event, and launched it, several months later, we were very deep into COVID by that point. And it's hard to ensure a positive sponsor experience when we have so many unknown factors. So definitely don't plan on one this year, unless it's something like on base, really low cost, nonprofit driven, something like that.
yeah, we definitely won't have anything on the scale that we've done with Rainbow Six or especially PUBG or anything. So
That said, 2022, that may change, so as things open back up, there's Q3 and on of this year are looking very positive, just from a general economic standpoint, not necessarily looking at from any other angle, but economically, there are a lot of analysts that are looking at Q3 as a really solid transition back into some sort of normality, with a lot of like public facing events and whatnot. And so it's very possible that in 2022 we can shift gears and get back into some of those larger event type things that we like to do. And Travis will probably talk more about this later, so I don't want to steal any thunder there. But part of what we did shift to in 2020 was building our foundation from a content generation standpoint and presence online, so that we could continue those conversations with sponsors without it looking like we just didn't do anything. So there were strategies we put in place to make that a very possible thing. But
Merc,
Merc,
I
Merc
love
just
Merc.
jumped. Merc just jumped on topless to speak to that.
Oh my god.
He's such a dork. But anyways, yeah. So you can. I mean, we definitely. It's not like that goes away forever, but just be aware of it for this year. Fucking dude.
God. Okay. Um. Jeez. Okay. So God, Merc's stealing the spotlight. I like it.
Hey, I got a question.
Discombobulated. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't see a registration for Apex. I see Among Us, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six. I don't see the registration for Apex.
Um.
Is there is like a week out?
Oh,
Out?
nope. Wait. No, it should be. I'm sorry. It should be in the June where Valorant Brawl registration is. Yeah, it should be there. So it will be. So you bring up a good question. I'll explain a little bit how registration, because it's not really well defined here, but the registration for community tournaments will be the weekend before. It'll be in phases: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday before the Saturday event. So 4 days of registration, very quick. For the competitive tournaments, it will be 3 stages of 3 days. So those will end, for example, let me bring up the schedule so I can give you guys kind of what this looks like. So specifically, for example, Apex will be played on the 19th, and registration will start from the 4th of June. So phase 1 will be 4, 5, 6. Phase 2, 7, 8, 9. Phase 3, which is open registration, will be 10, 11, 12. And then the following week will be Apex Game Day, 19 and 20. So for competitive titles, it'll be 2 weeks prior will be registration, and then for community titles, it will be the weekend before will be the entire registration process. So I'll fix that before I send that off for you guys here in Discord. Anything else on tournaments, the titles? Any questions regarding the titles or anything?
I had a question, Sham.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, is there any chance to get some stuff going on Sundays as well?
Yeah, we can. Right now, it's I've made it almost. I've put everything on Saturday, but knowing that some people can't do things on Saturday, and every now and again should have something on Sunday instead of Saturday. There is that contingency to move a Saturday tournament to a Sunday tournament. So just so that people that are busy on Saturdays have the chance to play on Sunday. For the competitive tournaments, they will always be Saturday and Sunday. So know that if you're going to be involved in a competitive tournament, both of those days will have to be open for that. If you do in fact make it to Sunday, because Sunday will be pretty much playoffs and finals day. Okay, so this is I'll take the chance here to transition and talk about more about the pay to play. So all of these tournaments, unless otherwise explicitly stated by MGL, will be pay to play. They'll be pretty small in paid, but like I said, helps us generate revenue, helps us with the prize pools for everything. So what we've done is, if you guys didn't know, we started our Patreon in 2019, and it had some really good traction. Starting out throughout 2019, past the PUBG event, and going into 2020 when the COVID started happening, and it was almost like we built Patreon for more of LAN based events. We had like VIP passes and a lot of stuff that we would do in person. So we had to kind of shift away from that. And so now the Patreon is just all about basically supporting MGL and being able to pay for tournaments via supporting MGL on Patreon. So if you're somebody that plays a lot of these titles and you want to play multiple throughout the month, it might be beneficial to support us through Patreon, because you will be paying less than you would paying per event.
Do you have visual, Travis,
So,
for the stuff
yeah.
you're going over right now?
Yep. I'm going to bring it up right now.
Okay, cool.
All right. So all right, so this is our Patreon model here. What we're doing here is we've got four tiers. Each of them will allow you certain access to the tournaments in terms of different registration times, and as well, there's some other rewards that I'll go over. But for right now, to start out, just being a supporter of MGL, $5 a month. It doesn't give you any tournament access. This is just kind of for the basic person that just wants to support and enjoy MGL. It does, however, give you private server access to Valheim, and if we do like GTA or anything like that, anything the community might want to see, we'll add that to the private server access. And then, of course, just thanking you for your support. Shout outs on all MGL content. And then the next three levels are moving into specifically the levels that will be our guiding kind of our guiding pay to play kind of tournament structure. So at $12 a month, this is for someone who just likes to play in the community titles, is not necessarily competitive, but still wants to earn a little bit of money, have some fun, play at a community level. You guys will have priority access over open registration. So open registration is, we put it out to all of MGL. Hey, this tournament is open. Go sign up. The community the community tier is right before that. The competitive tier will be right before that, and then the all access tier will be the very first people to be able to register. So in the community, the competitive, and the all access, this is where we get to allow you guys to join MGL in some very cool things that we've changed about our Patreon levels. It used to be that when you signed up, each tier was a different unit of MGL, and which is, I think I have to swap screens real quick. These are kind of our different MGL units, and these we've baked into the Patreon in different ways. So each of these units, the Quiet Vanguard, the Dread Warriors, the Scarlet Reapers, and the Peerless Titans, will have different things that they can do within MGL, different permissions that they can have, and will represent MGL and themselves in different ways. So in Patreon, in each of the tiers, you will have the ability to pick which one of those you want to join. So the Quiet Vanguard, it will be our social media team. What the Quiet Vanguard will be doing is basically supporting us on social media, shouting out tweets that we do, or liking all that stuff. And we'll do the same. If there's something that you guys want us to help you with, we'll reciprocate. The Dread Warriors will be the stream team. So we're going to start getting a stream team involved where downtime of tournaments, you guys will be featured on the MGL stream. That will be a rotating cast, as we obviously can't have 1,000 people all in 1 week streaming. So that'll be rotating every week, or every 2 weeks. And then the Scarlet Reapers is our content team. The Scarlet Reapers give us content, best ofs, like best shots, like any recordings that you guys want. We'll splice it and dice it via our amazing graphic design and editor, Sax. And we'll have a cool content piece of like the best of MGL for a month. And then the Peerless Titans is our media team. So this is closed to military only. Same with Stream Team. These are the guys that we'll pull on if we have interviews with magazines, newspapers, online sources, if we have in-person interviews, if we want to feature MGL members in a segment of Whiskey Delta or anything like that, we'll call upon these guys to kind of fill that spot. So really cool. I think like we've been wanting to get everybody involved more in MGL, and I think this is a really good way of doing it and let you guys pick and choose like what you guys want to do within MGL, rather than just kind of sit around and wait for games to come up and tournaments to come up. You can be actively involved throughout the year. Let's see. We'll have a digital artwork library. All of MGL's like digital artwork will be up, so you can like make phone backgrounds or desktop backgrounds. We'll probably be putting in like first runs of merchandise once we get there, of kind of like those artworks and those designs, get your guys' input, stuff like that. So that'd be really cool. But really the main point of these is that you will be able to subscribe once in a month and have access to all of the tournaments throughout that month. Instead of paying per tournament, you'll be able to have access to all of them, just at different levels of registration.
I have a question.
What's up, Mert?
No, Jesus.
The digital NFT.
God damn it. We updated you. What are you doing? You're cute and everything.
Wait, are we making you out of a digital NFT? Is that what you said?
Yes, please.
Absolutely, bro.
That was
I'll
my question.
I'll memorialize you on the blockchain all day long, bro. Real quick, Travis.
Yeah.
This is kind of from before, but just so we can hit it real quick, not to derail your train of thought. RPG had a question, or Nap had a question about fighting games. So, do we have any plans for like Mortal Kombat 11, Tekken, Street Fighter, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So Power and I actually were chit-chatting about it. I think brought up the fact that you guys do fighters, Yes. So if there's if people want to do like a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter or Super Smash, anything like that, we can definitely do it, and we can fill those gaps in October, September, October, since those are still open. So those will probably end up being where the fighting games will be at. And then going forward, if we see that there's that everybody likes the fighting games, we'll just start in, we'll just start including them on a normal basis throughout throughout the year. Was there anything you wanted to add, Daniel, on Patreon or?
Uh, just that we kind of took the form that it is now. Travis talked a little bit about the inclusivity of it. Something we viewed way back when this came together in 2017 and 2018 was that this was your guys' league. We are trying to make a business of it for sure, and part of that business model is letting Merck show his body off on stream. We believe we can make money doing that. So thank you for that, sir. No, but giving you guys a chance to be involved is more
Oh,
than
that
just
was
saying,
Hot tub
you know,
stream soon. Hot tub stream. We got this.
yeah. And it's more than just like the token, like, oh, you can be involved with this. We're legitimately looking at ways like how do we decentralize, some of what we're doing and make it more inclusive, and the experience that we've learned and the connections that we've been able to make in the industry so far. How can we transfer that back down to the community and make it more of not just benefit to the community, but community driven, in a big way. So this is kind of our effort to start going more that direction, and we have a huge appreciation and shout out to our very first Patreon supporters. This crew has been so instrumental in giving us feedback and letting us know what's been cool about the behind the scenes stuff that we've been able to do with them, some things they didn't really care about, all those things. So thankfully that became like almost a beta testing ground for us for this model to come forward, and we're really excited for what this could mean and look like, for the future of this.
Yeah, one thing, for those of you that are currently the all access tier on Patreon, we will have the the coin look, the gosh, what do you call it, Daniel? What the heck am I?
Challenge
What it'll
coin.
look like. Yeah, the challenge coin. We'll have what it looks
Proof.
like. The proof. There you go. We'll have it pretty soon here to show you guys. So that'll be cool. Make sure you keep a lookout of the in the Patreon chat, because that's just right around the corner.
Yeah, we've gone through a few vendors. We finally have one that we think the feel to make the print, like everything looks really solid. So we are excited to throw that out there.
So yeah, the challenge coin, it was a part of the all access package on Patreon. All right, cool. Does anybody have any questions about Patreon, the paid model, and how it kind of correlates with paying for tournaments and anything like that?
Can you
Yeah,
pull
it
it up
doesn't really
one
have
more
a
time?
lot to do with that, but I was wondering, is there like a strategy to grow the community some more in MGL? I know you guys are opening up to like civilians and stuff, but is there like a marketing plan, kind of how like Mike and I and Nap were talking about for RPG? Do you guys have one for MGL to bring more people into MGL to grow it?
OnlyFans.
I
Yeah.
think I think one of the easiest marketing strategies that we've seen over time with anything we've done in the past has been when we have paid tournaments and we have a way to get people not just a chance to win money, but like prizes and whatever else, and there's something inclusive to bring everyone together. That's been the best marketing we can do. So we have part of 2020 was really getting our editing, marketing, how we put interviews together, how we get snippets out of our social media, really getting solid on what our media and policies are for that. And that's very solid now, in house behind the scenes. And I think in 2019 we were kind of getting ahead of ourselves, where we really want to do these really big events, but we didn't even have a solid team in place internally. We had to rely
Right.
on contractors, and third parties, and so it kind of shifted in 2020, where because that got taken away, rug taken out from under us because of COVID and everything, we were able to really shift that and get a lot of training in house. We worked a lot with this group that was managing the Player Unknown Battlegrounds tournaments that were happening down in LA, and they had intern slots opened up. They let us do a lot of behind the scenes at how some of the production happened and everything. So now that that team's pretty solid in house, that our entire strategy is based around that, promoting those paid tournaments and getting the word out that way.
Okay.
And then, of course, like we've done before, leveraging connections that we have on bases to get the word out locally, to military communities and, that sort of thing. But as far as like budgets go and how that breaks down to, paying for promotional ads or working with other brands, yeah, that's still a cornerstone of what we plan on doing.
Right. I mean, like, do we have any like big partners, or partnerships in the works to help us grow the community as well? Any
Sure.
big time sponsors, or is
Yeah.
that something we have to talk about not at town hall?
No, I mean, I won't say names, but we have large brands that are interested, but we have a lot of people that are kind of standoffish right now and seeing what we're doing. So this year, instead of us waiting until we got the trigger, we're just funding this, in house. But part of what we've been doing throughout the end of 2019 and in 2020 is creating this ecosystem that's very based around this cause-driven idea of PTSD awareness and suicide prevention. And
Mhm.
I know we've talked a lot about that, during events, and we've pushed it out messaging wise here. But we're talking about beyond just the league. One of these endeavors was this hemp farm that I helped launch in 2020, with a cause messaging focus on PTSD awareness. Another one we have in the blockchain space that we're not ready to unveil yet, but that is something we have in the works to help fund. And the idea of this ecosystem outside of just esports is how do we get funding to funnel into the initiatives we're doing that can be veteran sourced, that can be veteran owned, that can be veteran prioritized without having to rely on these third parties and these outside sponsors that have been such a wild card for us to really establish in the past. Esports is an extremely cash heavy. I mean, a lot of you guys that have been in the space already know it's extremely cash heavy endeavor, and so. To answer your question, yeah, we have connections. We have industry people that we can rely on. We have some brands that I think will end up paying out more for 2020 than this year we're in now. But that doesn't change the fact that every tournament you see will have a paid prize pool. Every we'll have giveaways from brands and things like that. But to say that there's this huge connection right now that's dropping 100 grand plus on us or something, we don't have that in the works right now. We have people that are willing to have that conversation, but not necessarily that are writing us a check right now.
Right. I think my primary question was more definitely towards the community and growing the community, because I see a lot of communities growing out there right now with like, I think, some bullshit effort, and I think we could do a lot better than some of them. But I mean, we could save that conversation for another time. But it
For
sounds
sure.
like we're doing really good. We have a
Well,
solid plan.
yeah, I think this is
Uh,
this is the first step of, and I'll let you hit on this, Travis. This is kind of a big first step for us transitioning out of what 2020 was basically, because we may not have been publicly out here, but behind the scenes we've been working our tails off. So I think this is kind of step one, right? Getting this out there, get the plan out there, let the team and the community get excited about something going on again, and then from there we build on that and progress. Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
One of the biggest things when we started MGL in 2018 is there was no place for military and esports. Like it didn't exist. There was military in gaming, but not military in esports. And so when throughout 2018, like our numbers like blew up because whenever you looked for esports and military, we were the only thing that came up. Now, 3 years later, USO, Wounded Warriors, like everybody is doing esports and everybody is pushing their gaming agendas. So, I mean, that's a bunch of people out there, right? That we should essentially be um, able to share and enjoy, connections with. But at the beginning, what I'm getting to is at the beginning, everybody was open to that because we were the only one doing esports, and now that they're doing esports, it's almost like And it's really weird within the veteran and military community. It's almost like they like don't want to share members. It's like, we are this group, these are our members, like we don't want to kind of mess around and do stuff with you, which is really kind of like unfortunate.
It's
We've
because they're
always
competitive.
Yeah, I mean, but like we've always been open doors. Like, hey, come on in if you want to, say something that you have a tournament going on. Like, sure, go ahead. People will join, and people have joined in other people's tournaments, but it's not reciprocated. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of, I think, a big kind of roadblock that we've had is like, how do we have a conversation with someone that doesn't want to have the conversation about creating something bigger than what they are and what we are. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that we're consistently working on and talking to people about. So,
It does sound kind of cutthroat. I just think that we need to try harder to be bigger than they are. I mean, that's how I personally feel about it. I don't know if that's like the right answer, but I think if they're going to be competitive and more inclusive and try to take whatever's out there, we just have to take more. That way we can grow more, we can get more support, and we all grow at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, and
that's one of the reasons why we feel like opening up to allied militaries and civilians is a good idea, because sometimes the like military members won't even know about MGL except
Hmm.
from a civilian who can't even get into MGL. So now that they're going to be able to play with us and enjoy it, and allied militaries are going to be able to come in and enjoy it, they can from firsthand experience spread the awareness of MGL, and not just kind of like as a, oh well, this isn't for me, so why worry about talking about it kind of thing.
Hmm. Right.
So, yeah.
real quick, there was a question in town hall about lost my point. TTRPGs. So any tabletop stuff planned, Travis? I'm thinking this
Are
might be an
you?
operation outreach that type thing. Doc Lannister had this question.
Yeah. So, you can unmute yourself if you want, Doc. But like, is one of the titles you're talking about specifically like Hearthstone? Or are you talking about like Magic, D&D?
I'm really just talking about it all.
Okay. Okay. So Hearthstone is a big game that we could do, something easily that we could do. As for Magic and like D&D, D&D is awesome. We love D&D and we want to get back into it. If you guys don't know, we had DoD&D going for a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. But just issues with timing, casting, everything kind of put it to a halt. But we want to get back into it. We want to be able to set up campaigns and stuff for you guys. That's not to say that that's not something that the community can do, right? Like, you guys are more than welcome to put together non-tournament, non-prize pool kind of events for Magic the Gathering, or D&D, stuff like that. But I think Hearthstone is easy to get into. I think Magic the Gathering online would be easy to get into. Honestly, really, the titles that we have up on the schedule are just titles that we know we have an audience for, and we know we have a good amount of people that will join and play. What we don't want to do is say, hey, there's a Hearthstone tournament and only have 5 people sign up. I mean, it'll be over in a couple hours, and that's it. So yes, we can have these events for TTRPGs, but we just have to have the audience for it, and the the player base for it. So yeah.
Merc is asking about Warzone tourney.
Can I talk on that real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hit
go
it.
for it.
So, Merc, and to anybody else that plays Call of Duty Warzone, me personally, I do not feel comfortable running a Warzone tournament. And the reason for that is because Activision as a company has failed to keep hackers out of their game. Even at the lowest level, and I'm not very good at the game, but at the lowest level, in any game that I play, I still have to deal with hackers in the game. And it's easy to tell. They're very blatant about it. These hackers, Activision can say that they banned 45,000 people, they banned 60,000 people, but what's to stop somebody from getting a VPN and then just creating a new account? That at the end of the day, you can say you banned 60,000 people manually, but then 60,000 people just join the tournament again. There's a lot more behind that, but me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, hey, let's get into a Warzone tournament and get people involved in a Warzone tournament if they can't deal with it personally.
Does that go for custom lobbies as well?
The other
we did
portion,
like
yeah, and I was going to get into that too. The other portion of getting into a Warzone tournament is getting enough people to actually participate in a Warzone tournament. So we have I've hosted quite a few like 1v1 tournaments for MGL in the past, and we've gotten 10 people sign up for that tournament. So if I'm only getting 10 people signing up for a 1v1 tournament for a certain prize pool, I need to see a lot more activity from the community to get involved in that. If we get enough activity for it, that would be perfect.
why don't we try and start off with just like the small community events before we move to tournaments with like COD,
That's what,
custom lobbies.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's why I have slotted 1v1s and 2v2s, because we want to get the Call of Duty crowd going. 2 months in a row of playing Call of Duty, to see exactly to Zach's point. Like, is there enough people signed up and want to play Call of Duty to warrant a Warzone? And then on the flip side of that is, yeah, we could just do custom lobbies. I think
Like a
actually
community
Sax.
event.
I think Sax actually has something that he was talking to us about doing a custom lobby, and that's something we could just do as a community on a community night and just enjoy playing with each other.
Right.
Yeah, to see how that pans out. But
I
yeah.
mean, I think Call of Duty's probably like Warzone when it's free and it's like the largest battle royale game
Yeah.
that's out there right now.
Yeah,
So-
but is it correct me if I'm wrong, but there's still no like spectator mode, like camera mode, like PUBG has?
As far as I
think
know,
there
for
is.
Warzone there isn't, I don't think, but for the multiplayer version there's the Codcaster.
Right. Right, but for Warzone, basically our tournament structure would change to if we're streaming it, we have to swap between streams. We have to get a lot of people to stream and swap between their streams and stuff like that, which isn't a big deal. It is more work, but it's just something that we have to integrate doing. That's why we like PUBG so much, and Apex, and all the other BRs, is because they have free spectator mode that we can just enjoy playing with the camera and doing what we want to do, and not kind of fixed on one camera. So, but yeah, I mean, if by September and October, if we're comfortable with doing a Warzone tournament, I see no reason why we wouldn't be able to do a competitive Warzone tournament. So,
Okay, I'll get some more information on what the capabilities of Warzone are for custom lobbies, and I'll hit you guys up about it.
cool.
Because I think that'll bring a lot of people in. Especially these free battle royale games will definitely grow the community.
For sure. There was
right,
one more thing. Solcano, since the G4 TV network is making a comeback, do you see MGL getting involved with them? I wasn't aware that they were making a comeback. I remember them from 2018. They were one of our very first people that we reached out to. Do you want to talk about that, Solcano? So I remember they were the one of the very first, and then they just kind of died out real quickly. Something happened.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, so right now they are making a comeback, but for right now they're basically going on a test run. They call it before G4. So all they're doing is just doing Twitch streaming, events, interviews. But as for being in the actual network, they do belong to Comcast, so they are gonna be a network again sometime soon. But for right now, they're just kind of testing the waters to see what the demand is for the viewership, and also if there's any demand in general. And so far, their community has been growing, and they did do a co-host for League of Legends about 2 weeks ago, and it had a major success. So it looks like they are gonna be an established network, basically after 2022, what it seems like. So with that being said, is we're gonna have that gaming channel again, and so it would be great if MGO would also reach out to them again, especially right now since they're still in their planning phase to be part of the channel, or at least to put the MGL out there and basically be broadcasted, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. We are always open to collaborating and working with anybody that supports our mission, and like as long as you support our mission and what we're doing, like we're open to working with you. So yeah, that's something that we can look into and see if we can um, get at least conversation going with them to see what their capabilities are and if they want to have us involved in any way. But yeah.
All right, you want to keep this ticking along, Travis, at the next point?
Yeah. All right. So the next stuff is just more about Daniel kind of hit on it earlier about how like through 2020 into the beginning of 2021 we were very we just tried to produce a lot of good content and get good content rolling so that we could use it going into sponsorship asks for 2022. And two of the things that we did from Sax and from Mike are community outreach and the Whiskey Delta pieces. If you guys don't know about them, Sax and Mike are gonna chat a little bit about like what they're doing, some cool stuff that they have done, and kind of what those look like.
While they're chatting about that, will you put up some of the artwork and graphics and stuff that got put? Maybe you can rotate through some of that, Travis.
Well, Mike, you want to go first or you want me to go?
I got it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another informational PSA on Whiskey Delta. I am your host, Mike Karnowski, aka The Devil in Details. Whiskey Delta is a military gaming league production brought to you by, well, myself and Sax and all of the rest of the fun people at Military Gaming League. We look for movers and shakers in the military gaming veteran community, and we cause mischief mayhem. We do some fun interviews. We look for folks, we try to highlight the ones that are doing the community outreach, the folks that are giving back. And are looking for something a little different to do. We like interviewing folks. We have a good time with it. I enjoy doing it, and it's been fun. We've done a lot of different content. We've interviewed nonprofits. We've done Shellback Tech. We did some stuff with N22. We've interviewed some big names like Coda Vets. We've also Vince Vargas has been on the show. We've gone into the esports teams. The coach from Shoot to Kill for PUBG has been on now twice. Damage X has been on. But you think about it, we've been doing this for almost a year now, and we try episode schedule we release about once every 3 weeks or so right now, and we're always looking for potential interviewees. If anyone ever has suggestions, we try to listen to feedback as much as possible on the comments on the YouTube channel. So if y'all ever watch an episode and you see it, they're 15 to 20 minutes long, sometimes less. Sometimes a little bit more, but please give us some feedback on what we're doing. If there's something that maybe we need to change, expand on, something you'd like to see. We haven't done a lot of, say, veteran advocacy. I've got a couple people in the pipe that we could bring on that could talk about VA benefits and navigating the process. We could bring on some advocates. There's a lot of different things that I can do with some connections that I've got here in San Diego that we can do. I mean, it's not just about folks that we see that we want to highlight. It's if you know people that are out there doing good things, or there's stuff that maybe you want to hear some more about, we can interview them, we can bring them on, we can ask them some questions and see what they got going on. We can help make connections for folks that are struggling. We do a lot of mental health awareness pieces. We do some fun ones. Damage X had his 2 puppets in one of the episodes, so nothing's really off the market here in terms of what we can and can't do for Whiskey Delta. It's been a ton of fun, and we plan on keeping it going for as long as we can. So if anybody ever has anything and wants stuff, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much myself and Sax production. I do all the scheduling and interviewing questions, blah blah blah, setting up the comms channels, etc. And Sax does all the back end work. So if you have any questions on Whiskey Delta and what it could potentially look like in the future, or potential interviewees, just hit us up, slide into those DMs and ask away.
What are you doing with Machine Gunner? Just since this is the second time coming on, what does that
So
one look
it
like?
was when we interviewed Machine Gunner USMC. He was in Korea when we interviewed him the first time. He was in week 3, I believe, of the World event that was going on, and it wasn't Worlds, it was World. I think I got that
PUBG
right, Zach.
Invitational.
Thank you. It was a PUBG Invitational where the the people that won week 6 walked away with over $500,000. It was insanity. Anyway, so first interview, he was still in Korea. The second interview that we just did, he's back home in the interview. So we were able to talk about, hey, what's going on during an event, and we were able to get in there right at the end for some very timely what happened after, thoughts on the future, what are you going to take from what you've learned and moving forward. So it was kind of a really neat to be able to do a progression
Yeah,
of the
cool.
story. And
He's still coaching, right?
he is still coaching.
That episode
and
drops tomorrow.
Yeah, so that second episode tomorrow, and he is great. He's super down to earth. Anybody has PUBG type questions, he's amazing. He talks about breaking in on the PUBG scene if you're serious about getting competitive. Some of the tips about getting in there, getting into scrims, and just being available. If that's something that you really want to do, if you want to break into that scene, get in there, get into scrims, be available. Watch the episode for sure. So
yeah, because I remember meeting him at the phase 3 we all went to, Daniel and Sham.
Oh yeah, at OGN Studios.
Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, I just really want to get back to doing that. Being able to like go to OGN Studios and watch PUBG live and do stuff on bases. Like, I'm excited to get back into that once this whole crap is over.
Well, and it gives a different level of content too. I mean, this online stuff's great, and I think it'll be fun for the community. But I mean, like you guys know, it's a different experience when you're there in person. The energy is different. The stuff you can, because there are a lot of people in the gaming esports place that are making content, but there are not a lot of people that had the angle and some of the connections we had behind the scenes, with these groups. And you add in cause messaging and doing something positive for the community, and it's a powerful combo.
I feel like there's a good plug for getting vaccinated in there somewhere. Like, you can only come to.
Don't start.
Don't even. Yeah, go get the blood clotting.
Johnson.
Do
you want to touch on Operation Outreach, Sax?
Yeah. So going back into content creation, one piece, Mike just went over the Whiskey Delta portion. Something we wanted to do to get into the community and content creation wise was Operation Outreach. And part of our mission statement is to get veterans together, to play games together, and to help combat PTSD symptoms and other mental health problems, right? So me and usually Mike get on stream on Saturdays. We get these games going, invite everybody into the stream to get together, talk to each other, and just play games. And one of those things that we saw, one of those items that we saw work really well was the Call of Duty 1v1 tournaments. And that's why you see those on the schedule again. That's probably when we saw our most participation in stream. Our most community members get in there and pop in. They're like, oh, 1v1 Call of Duty tournament. We had a ton of success with that. So we wanted to make sure that we got back to our roots with the Operation Outreach. We want to get you guys involved again on that and get those community events going. And if there's a game that you want to see that you want to participate in, let's get those up there. Send them my way and we can get them going. And yeah, that's pretty much it as for Operation Outreach wise. I will say if you're in here and you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do that because it helps. Just to touch on YouTube real quick, we do have Whiskey Delta as a series, but we want to put a bunch of our tournament stuff coming up on there as well for content creation purposes. Going back to what Power asked, a piece of building a community is also going to be able to bring content to those people. So as we are going into the tournament season and producing this new content, we can throw it up on YouTube. That will help build that community on YouTube, and then we can bring it over to different aspects that we're working in, different spaces we're working in, whether that's Discord, Patreon, whatever the case is. So in the past 6 months since we started I guess 9 months since we started Whiskey Delta, we've seen a growth in our YouTube of just about 175 members, and we're over 2,000 hours watched total on YouTube. So the content we're producing on there is doing very, very, very well from a small YouTube channel standpoint, and we're seeing significant growth for what we are.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, these guys have done such a phenomenal
This-
job of getting this stuff
yeah.
off the ground. And when I or Travis or anybody on the team really talk to sponsors, the one thing they love seeing is consistency. They love seeing the polish, for the extra work that we put into some of these guys. And I know when we share around what some of our partner communities are doing, like RPG and Elusive, that's the same thing. Same thing they comment on every time is the consistency, the energy, especially on the graphics teams that go into these things. I know RPG puts a lot of work into their graphics and art. Elusive's the same way. Elusive's been running back-to-back PUBG tournaments, and they've been doing a phenomenal job at facilitating those. These are the sort of things that attract sponsors beyond just the numbers, right? Beyond just your total views and followers and current viewers. They also want to see, can you guys produce, be consistent about it? And so we put this as a priority out for the team, and we've had other folks kind of rotate in and help with this throughout the time. But by and far, the largest share of this has been on Sax and Mike. And so definitely check it out, support them, but know that the reason for it, like 'cause some people are in this community and they're like, well, we're supposed to be doing tournaments, whatever. What's the point of this stuff? The reason for this is really underpinning our production capabilities and allowing there to be that constant pulse. Even when we don't have tournaments going on, even when you have COVID, upsets of what's going on, they see that constant pulse of what's going, and it allows us to be that much more marketable to sponsors. So it's all part of that bigger strategy of how do we make the league look attractive? How do we make those conversations go as far as possible? We bring these bigger sponsors to the table and that sort of thing. So anyway, good job, guys. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to see what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, the community outreach program will continue throughout the tournament season. It's not going to stop. So if you want to play in stuff that's not kind of the paid tournaments with a prize pool and stuff like that, you can always play with Sax and get in on the community outreach, which are 99% of the time on Saturday nights. So they will be after the tournaments because we'll play tournaments like usually midday. So you'll be able to kind of watch our tournaments, play in the tournaments, and then swap over and play with Sax and the community outreach team. So,
Did you want to? Yeah. Did you have
uh,
another point on your
no,
on your
no,
element?
nope. I mean, the rest was going to be open for questions. If you guys have any questions, Daniel, if you wanted to hit on anything that we haven't hit on, kind of
Just
open.
ag Yeah, just again talking about kind of behind the scenes, what this team's been focusing on. At the end of 2019, we had quite a bit of debt as a league, and one of the biggest priorities we had wrapping up 2019 is how do we get everything taken care of? We had some players from earlier tournament that still hadn't got paid out for prize pool. We had all these little things that were kind of still up in the air. We had a chair provider who ended up pulling out last minute, and it was one that we had worked with several times and we had a great relationship with. And now we can't even get on the phone to have a conversation with us. So we had a lot of these road bumps, happen in 2019. And so part of what we started doing behind the scenes is building this ecosystem that was the center hub, if you will. The spoke was based around this cause messaging for PTSD awareness, suicide prevention, and it was something we felt pretty keenly here in this community. I don't know if everybody here knows, but we've had at least 5 now that have been part of the community either commit suicide or that have been seriously injured because of severe depression or something else they're dealing with. So this was something that hit pretty close to home for us. All of us know somebody in the service that's dealt with that. That's just, I mean, once you go through any length of time, that just becomes pretty normal, for all of us. So part of this ecosystem was this hemp farm, which I've commented on before, but what I haven't really talked on is how that intersects with MGL. So one of the things we're doing is making Ironsight Industries, which was our play on the hemp side of things, a perpetual sponsor for the league, and that is still on schedule. If anybody's curious or interested, you can check out IronsightIndustries.com. You can see the operation, you can see what we put together, you can see what's going on there, and so that's already that's part of what's playing into us getting to that point where all debts are paid off, everybody's taken care of, and we're able to start putting money towards these tournaments. If you're curious where some of the stuff's coming in, the other element that we're not quite ready to play out is these initiatives on the blockchain space. but we are excited about what that could look like. So stay tuned for those things because they're not directly related to esports and MGL, but they're part of this ecosystem that we're building that, again, allow us to be completely independent as a veteran organization, do all the initiatives we need to do, and allow the sponsorship piece or whatever else is happening just to be extra, just to push us above and beyond whatever we're doing. Right now, we're very restricted on what we can and can't do based off whatever income we have come in, sponsors decide to play ball, and so on. And if we have a sponsor situation like we had in 2019, where you've got people that bail last minute, or there's disputes or whatever comes of that, it puts us and our community at a disadvantage. We're the ones usually holding the bag. And so a big mitigating factor, and a lot of work has gone into this. I can't even tell you how many thousands and thousands of hours have gone into making sure that the entire end of 2019 through 2020 was literally foundational building so that we could, through the rest of this year and then going into 2022, really have some exciting stuff to show you. And so, a lot of people are talking about, like, how do we make this bigger and all this stuff. Trust me, it's part of this long master plan that, it's I think you guys are going to be really impressed. And I know as far as the impact to connections that we're able to make in relationships, it allows us to punch above the belt in a big way. So I know some of that seems vague, but again, check out ironsightindustries.com. As these other initiatives come up, we'll talk about how the glue is all held together through partners like Coda Vets, Iron Will, which is Iron Will is a huge group that's tying together large universities and $1 million sponsors for cosmessaging, like we're focusing on now. And so these guys give us, connections into, brands at like a Coca-Cola level. You know what I mean? So there's work we have to do to get to the point where we are marketable and, equitable at that level with these guys. But to say that, but I just want to encourage the community that, nobody's been sitting idle. This has been a labor of love, and we're starting to see that pay off. You guys will see it more and more throughout this year.
Sweet. We'll open it up for questions. There's already a couple in here that I'll hit on. As asking about the Patreon group. So if anybody's in Patreon, at the $30 tier, the all access tier, your guys' priority registration for the very first tournament, the Among Us tournament, starts on Friday. So you guys will have stuff start rolling in on Friday. Your priority registration will start on Friday, and then continuing on, you guys will obviously have priority registration on everything. So and then the lower tiers will obviously be days after those registrations start. As for merch, actually, here, let me do merch after the streamed thing. So everything is will be streamed on Military Gaming League Twitch, twitch.com/Military Gaming League. That's where all of Operation Outreach is at. Whiskey Delta is on YouTube. But as for all the streaming stuff, it'll mainly be on Twitch. We do put it on YouTube, stream on YouTube and on Facebook as well. But the main channel is obviously Twitch for the streamed content. As for, let me hit merch real quick. So for merch, we're talking to just a handful of people that want to work with us in terms of merch. We just have to figure out what works best for us and how we want to roll that out. Some people that want to work with us only have a limited amount of like items that we can put merch on, and we really want to do, we want to put it on this kind of item, and they don't have that. So it's a lot of like discovering who's going to be the best merchandise partner to work with. That's where we're at right now. We want to do merch. We know how much everybody likes it. I think probably the first piece of merchandise we'll actually have is the MGL coins. The MGL challenge coins are coming for the Patreon, the all access tier. We will probably be doing a different coin just for the community, like a just an MGL community coin. The Patreon coins are kind of specific for them, but that'll probably be like the first thing. And then when we figure out what partner works best for us is when we'll start pumping out, and when we get really solid designs is when we'll start pumping out merch. I don't see why it wouldn't happen this year. That the start of the process, the start of getting merchandise out. Um, so yeah, just I guess
Yeah,
look forward.
and just to comment on that, I mean, like the design side is the easiest part. And we have a lot of really great partners on the design side. But to Travis's point, having the right partner for that versus doing everything in house, that's the trade off, right? We have to be really picky and choosy where we put our time and what time we leverage on our team. And so that typically ends up being we're outsourcing merch in some way. We have a really great partner that we used before, Darren Day, that we may end up working with again in the interim, and that could be a stepping stone to our longer term merch plan. But uh, w- suffice it to say that we have several irons in the fire where that's concerned, and as soon as we're able to, and it makes economical sense to push that out and really start blowing it up, we 100% will be.
Um, as for your question about the Patreon stream team, content creation, when all that will start, um, all of that stuff is pretty ready to go. The stream team specifically, because it's more of a team that we're kind of putting together. I think we're holding off on that just a little bit until we have a couple of people that we can do all at once, and so we can have that going instead of just kind of one person in the middle of a Wednesday kind of randomly placed there. Um, but for the content creation, like start sending stuff in the Patreon chat. I'll actually make a channel specifically for that so that you guys can upload content stuff. The media team, if anyone's a part of the Peerless Titan group, whenever we have something available, you guys are there to reach out. The Quiet Vanguard, the social media team, they're always ready to go. I think the stream team and the content creation team are the two kind of more hands-on, more activity-based groups. So with that being said, content creation team, send us your stuff, and Sax will get splicing for the month. And for the stream team, we just want to wait till we have a good core group that we can just launch all at once instead of just kind of doing onesies and twosies here and there. Um, we want to have the biggest thing that we want to do is make sure that we have a consistent structure of streams and how things are going. We don't want to just kind of popcorn around the week what's going on. So yeah.
To add on to the content creation thing, if uh if anybody in general has some awesome clips from a game that you played, we have the hashtag bragging rights channel up there, and if your clip is fire, I'll throw it in there. Like I wanna make that bragging rights clip to go up on Twitter and show off all the skills that you guys got. So uh, Patreon guys, and send those clips over to me, what you want, and what you want to get thrown up on the interwebs, and we'll get that going for you.
Anything else, guys? I'm excited for more merch as well. I like Daniel and I and Mike and Sax and the whole MGL team have been talking about it for such a long time. All the really fun, cool ideas that we want to do. Some of you might not know, like one of the biggest things that has ever been requested, because I see a lot of new faces in here, which is pretty cool. Are Ranger panties. So like that's something that Daniel and I specifically want to find somebody who can do Ranger panties and put like an MGL logo on Ranger panties. Like
And do it well, you know.
yeah, and do it well, yeah, for sure. So
Like put it right on the crotch, like a MGL logo right on the crotch. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
it's
Merc
right where
wouldn't
the
have
it's
to
right where the
censor
dagger
his.
goes.
Yeah, if you do that, Merc wouldn't have to censor his camera.
Anything else, peeps? Again, everything is starting. The first title of play is starting on May 8th. So between now and then, if you guys want to support MGL, support our initiatives, what we're doing, you want to get into these titles without having to pay for every single tournament, check out the Patreon. It's just patreon.com /military gaming league. Look at all the different tiers, see what fits and suits you, and we'll just and you'll be able to enjoy some pretty cool perks while supporting us and allowing us to continually put out this awesome content and do really fun things and cool things with you guys. So
We'll drop a link for Patreon in the question and answer after this is done. Right on, Doc. Good to know that we got somebody that's all about it.
yeah, yeah, we are like huge Mike and I and Sax, I think, is super huge D&D nerds, and love to doing DoD and D.
I would love to do D&D again with somebody. The problem is time commitments with people, and even with DoD&D, between everybody on that list of people, everybody had different time commitments and stuff. So the biggest thing, Doc, is figuring out the time commitment that everybody can put in and getting it all done. But if you just want to run a game, I mean, send me a message. I'll run a game. I've been trying to find a game for like 2 years. It seems like nobody. I don't know. Am I ugly or something?
Nah, man. I got a question about the Patreon. Okay, so it looks like it's individual, correct? So my question is, for an organization like Repetune, for us to support as an organization, is there a tier you guys can create within this that we pay, monthly? Like, let's say we want to have a competitive team that's always competing in everything that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That's something we briefly talked about. Daniel, do you have any thoughts on that?
If we do something like that, we'd probably beta test something with you guys, RPG, and let's talk offline about it, because if it's something that works for you and we figure something out, then it will likely work for others, and we can roll it out. So great question, and we want to make it as easy for especially our partner orgs. So there may be some product in kind type stuff, you know what I mean, that help mitigate that for your people too. So let's chat about that, and we'll see, and if we'll get your guys' thoughts too, because from your guys' perspective, if you see something you're like, dude, this would work perfect for us, that's good feedback for us. So we'll chat more about that.
Okay.
I was gonna address the D&D thing real quick. One of the things that we've talked about doing, Doc, in terms of D&D, like Sax was talking about, how time commitment was the biggest kind of issue with doing D&D, DoD&D. One of the things that we've thought about doing is creating a Western Marches style campaign where we just have 50 cast members, anybody who wants to play, and they sign up for one particular weekend, and that's that group. So that we can kind of deal with the time commitment aspect by having a lot of people able to commit to certain times. So that's something that we have talked about and are thinking about doing.
Okay, you guys can come get me when you decide to do a Pokemon tournament. Okay.
Nice.
That or Werewolf the Apocalypse. Then we'll
the Valheim server. I don't know if Az or Shadow Knight, who else is in here? That's a Patreon supporter. I think it's just you two guys right now. If you guys are into Valheim, the server is up, so we can mess around in Valheim right now. What Daniel and I have been talking about doing with Valheim specifically is, and we can do it on a separate server, but what we want to do is basically create a world for you guys, and then kind of have you guys drop in and do like mini challenges and things throughout the week or month, and reset the server. So like 1 week it'll be like, who can build the best town hall, or who can kill the most amount of ogres, or et cetera, small little mini games that we can do for you guys. But for right now, the Valheim server is open. If it's not in the Patreon chat, I think it is.
is that a Patreon thing?
It is a Patreon thing. Yeah. At any level, even the $5 tier, you get access to the private servers. But yeah, so just so you guys know, that is the server is live, and we can mess around and ping us. Daniel and I love getting on Valheim. We've been doing a lot of testing, what we can and can't do with certain add-ons and all these different things to make something fun in Valheim. So we love hopping on. So if you guys ever want to play, just ping us. We'll set aside some time to play with you guys and kill bosses or go sailing or kill each other, whatever, whatever it is you guys want to do.
Content creation wise, this is outside of MGL, but I've had this idea in my head about Valheim, getting some kind of YouTube series started, where in Valheim you have multiple different, up to 10 people, obviously, whatever the server max is, but you have them as like different clans, and then you're role playing as those clans, and each clan has a different like trade that it specializes in, and you set up this whole RPG scene and make it into a YouTube series. And I've wanted to do that, and I think it would be good content with the right people. I don't have a team to do that. So if anybody's interested and wants to help put that together, I mean, I'd be all for it.
It's something that Daniel and I have been talking about. It's just really hard because the limitations of Valheim are there's just so many limitations. Like Daniel and I were talking about, even getting 10 people on a server, if you're all in the same area, it gets insanely laggy. Like it's crazy, the limitations. So like the clan thing would be cool, but it's almost like you have to have clans on opposite sides of the world so they never interact with each other, which is something that
well, you wouldn't want that
them to
necessarily,
interact.
but at the same time, like if you think about like the original Norse days, like you didn't have two clans that were right next to each other to begin with. They were always opposite ends of the countries.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this would be a thing where you like set up like trade routes and pathing and stuff. But I digress. I'm getting on a tangent here.
This is Asmongold did this Valheim tournament. What is this? I'm gonna check it out. I didn't even know.
Do you guys have anything in consideration as far as like StarCraft 2 or anything like that?
I will tell you, you were the first person to say the word StarCraft since,
I mean, dude, I'm a huge
since 2018. Like it's so, and it's so weird because like there's so many titles that are huge in player base and like prize pools, but like but specifically our community doesn't talk about them. Like StarCraft is huge, and it has always been huge, but no one since 2018. Gas Mask, I know his name because like he was the only one that was always pushing for StarCraft stuff. I'm like, dude, like I would love to, but it's you versus you, and like you're gonna win. Like you might as well just take $100 at this point. Like we don't have people to play StarCraft, but
if y'all want to set something up, man, I volunteer me and my buddy to go up against the StarCraft. You can put the word out, man. We'll make it an event. I'm telling you. I know this dude Shane who that's all he does like all days. He watches like Cyril and those big StarCraft players, and he does like he's stupid. He's got hotkeys everything. He's really good. So
he's
like
real
if
deal.
if you guys wanted a weekend filler, man, I'll get with him and get with me. Let me know, and we'll go clap some cheeks in StarCraft too. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest thing is like whatever you guys propose, we're open to considering it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, and you know, it may be something where as we bring more civilians and other military in, that it becomes something that we've got some more traction for. So yeah, that's good to know.
We're pretty much at like the time that I kind of wanted to be at. So if you guys have any last minute questions, put them in, or unmute yourselves and let us hear your beautiful voices and ask your questions. Otherwise, we're gonna let everybody go.
I'm sure you probably covered this already, and forgive me for not maybe catching it, but if I wanted to join one of like the content creator teams or anything like that, how would I go about doing that?
The MGL units, the content creation stream team, all those different teams are rewards specifically for Patreon supporters. So at the $12 or above tier is when you have access to pick what you want to be a part of. Nice. Well, thank you. We
Thanks for your
appreciate that.
support, Templar.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, thank you.
Templar, one of like our longest members. We have a lot of long members and then a bunch of new people, which is really cool. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else, you guys are released. Get with your NCOs.
Yeah, right.
No, don't do
One,
that.
one thing before
It's
No
too
thanks.
soon.
I got one final thing before everybody goes. RPG Nap and RPG Power are the owners of Red Platoon Gaming here. Thank you guys for joining us. RPG is hosting a React to Contact series. If you guys haven't heard about it yet, it's for Apex Legends. Be sure to join their Discord servers and get with them if you guys want to participate in Apex. We're partnered with them. We wanna make sure that event succeeds.
Yeah, they're gonna be helping. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
yeah, go ahead, Power.
no, go ahead. Hey, along with that, every Saturday night we're doing custom lobbies for Apex. It's kind of practice for some of the guys that are going to be casting it for production team, but it's also something that I think it's growing every day that we do, and we don't do just straight up death battle. We do different goal based custom games and stuff like that. I mean, Nap went through a whole freaking doctoral thesis of shit that we got to do in some of these games.
Right.
So it's really fun though. If you guys are interested in it, get your teams together, man. Join in. It could be solos, duos, trios. It don't matter.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Saxon and Mike got their butts whooped.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I haven't
Yeah,
played
dude.
Apex in quite a while, but I wanted to hang out with you guys and support you guys, so I reinstalled it, got on, got whipped, and then I've been playing for like an hour every day trying to like relearn Apex. So I'm ready for next Saturday.
I'll tell you what happened with that lobby. I invited one of the pro players, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you did.
And it was just supposed to be him and like two other people, but he invited like all these guys. I was like, damn, okay, we have the top 300 players in the freaking Apex scene in our lobby right now.
I think Mike Sachs and I got like 1v3'd probably like 90% of the games that we played.
Yeah.
My excuse is I just made the switch to PC. I wasn't using the controller, so like I have reasons why I suck really bad at that game right now.
Yeah, save your excuses. Not trying to hear it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Apex stuff, especially because it's cross-platform, and we'll be able to, at least for our guys, be able to like open it up to cross-platform. Same with what are some of the other Call of Duty will be cross-platform, which is cool. I mean, hell, even Among Us can be cross-platform. If anyone in here wants to play in the Among Us tournament, just know that you got to stream, because that's kind of how we do our points systems. If you guys like playing Among Us, but have no idea how a tournament would be run, Google. I can find the link and I'll put it. But if you Google Twitch, what's their series called?
Twitch Rivals.
Their Twitch Rivals Among Us, and look at a tournament that has been played. It's super fun. It's really cool. It's basically like a point accumulation, points on kills, points on tasks done, points on voting people out, stuff like that. It's super fun. So, anyways, other than that, guys, I got nothing else. No more questions. Doesn't look like. Nope.
Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy days and weekends to get with us, and just know that we're excited to go to wherever this ends up going with you guys. And we're very, very thankful for your continued support and involvement here. Much love.
Stay check out the tournament information category. Once I post all these up, all this stuff will be in there for you guys, so you guys know all the dates and everything. So
right on.
And thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out.
Thanks for the info, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
See you guys.
Deuces. Throw it in the bag. Have a fun time at work, Doc.
Do what?
I said, have a good time at work.
I am. I'm selling alcohol to people.
Oh,
Yeah, I work at a liquor store.
that's okay. You're
Yeah.
doing
I'm
good work
drinking
for
it, but-
people.
But it's keeping people from out of the hospitals.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank y'all for that information. And if y'all do want me to host after I do get another PC, because I did lose my PC to unfortunate circumstances of losing my job at the time, I will DM as soon as I get a PC back up and running.
Hell yeah, man! I appreciate that. That's awesome. I would love to get into a game, even if it's not like for a content creation thing. So yeah, I'll definitely hit you up in the future.
All right.
But you
But
have
have a
you have a
good one.
great, yeah, you too, man.